I don't know how I'm writing this. The papers I scribble on feel wet, though they're dry to the touch. The words smear and twist when I glance back at them, but they straighten out when I look again. Time doesn't make sense anymore. Nothing does. But I have to finish this before I lose myself completely, before the thing that's watching finally drags me under. The chamber was alive. The altar's rippling surface rose and fell like a chest taking shallow, ragged breaths. The glowing eyes opened wider, their green light staining everything, our faces, the walls, even the air itself. The hum became a growl, vibrating in my bones. It was angry, hungry, and then the walls began to move. I don't mean they were shaking. I mean they were shifting. The carvings rippled and warped, the shapes twisting into something grotesque. They stretched into mouths that whispered in a language I couldn't understand, their voices burrowing into my ears. I backed away, my legs trembling. What the hell is happening? Emerson didn't answer. He just stood there, staring at the altar. His lips were moving, but no sound came out. Emerson, I shouted. I reached for him, but Daniels grabbed my arm. Look at him, she whispered. I turned back to Emerson and felt my stomach drop. His face was pale, his eyes wide. His pupils blown so far out his irises were almost gone. But it was his mouth that terrified me the most. It wasn't his. It stretched too far, the corners splitting as something spilled out, green, wet, and pulsing. Help! Mem Emerson croaked, but the thing in his mouth drowned him out. It writhed, growing longer, thicker, like a limb being birthed. Then his body collapsed, limp, leaving the thing in its place. It slithered toward us, its slick, coiling body leaving a trail of green slime in its wake. We ran. The walls seemed to fold in on themselves, the chamber shrinking, stretching, twisting. No matter how far we ran, the doorway never appeared. Every corridor looked the same. Dark stone pulsing with unnatural light, whispering mouths lining the walls. Where's the way out? Clark screamed. There isn't one, Daniel shouted back. Behind us, the thing that had been Emerson slithered closer. Its body scraped against the stone, a wet, squelching sound that made my stomach churn. Keep moving, I yelled, but I wasn't sure where we were even going. Eventually, we stumbled into another chamber. This one was smaller, darker. The glow was dimmer, almost dying. But in the center was something worse than the altar. It was a well, a massive gaping hole in the floor, ringed by jagged black stone. A faint light pulsed from its depths, green and sickly, illuminating the strange carvings that spiraled down its walls. And from the well came the sound, the hum, the groan, the roar. It echoed up from the depths, vibrating the floor beneath our feet. What the fuck is this? Daniels whispered. She was clutching her camera, but it was clear she wasn't going to use it. It's coming from down there, Clark said, her voice trembling. No shit, I snapped, but my voice broke halfway through. The air was heavier here, pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. And the whispers, they were louder now, clearer. I still couldn't understand the words, but they felt wrong, like they weren't meant for human ears. And then something moved. It rose slowly, the light from the well casting its shadow across the walls. At first, I thought it was another one of those sea creatures, like the thing that had come from Emerson. But as it rose higher, I realized it was something worse. It was vast. Its body was dark and glistening, its surface rippling like oil on water. Dozens, no, hundreds of tendrils extended from it, each one as thick as a tree trunk, curling and writhing in unnatural patterns. But it was its face that broke me. It didn't have eyes, not in the way we'd understand, just empty voids that seemed to devour the light around them. Its mouth was a jagged gash that split its entire body, filled with teeth that didn't stay still, teeth that moved. And when it spoke, it wasn't a sound, it was a feeling. A wave of nausea, of dread, of something ancient and endless pressing down on me. I fell to my knees, clutching my head as the voice tore through me. You were not meant to come here, Daniel screamed. It wasn't a human scream, it was the sound of someone breaking, someone who had seen too much. She bolted toward the well, her camera clattering to the ground behind her. Daniels, no, Clark shouted, but it was too late. She reached the edge and then she was gone. Not falling, not jumping. She disappeared, like the well had swallowed her whole. I stared at the spot where she'd been, my heart pounding. We have to get out of here, I said, my voice barely a whisper. There's no way out, Clark said, tears streaming down her face. We're already dead. No, I grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the corridor. We're leaving, now? The thing in the well roared, its tendrils lashing out, slamming into the walls. The whole structure trembled, the floor cracking beneath our feet. We ran. I don't remember how we made it back to the ship. I don't remember if Clark was with me or if I was alone. I just remember the green light fading behind me, the hum growing fainter, and the icy wind hitting my face. But the ship wasn't the same. The wood was warped, the railings covered in frost that pulsed like veins. The sky above was darker, the stars twisted into shapes I didn't recognize, and the water glowed. I hear it now beneath the waves, the hum, the groan, the roar. It's getting louder, it's calling me, and I don't think I can resist much longer.